Hello, Malaka, and welcome to another episode of Contiki Rugby. As usual, we'll welcome our co-host for the show, Kawataka and Special K. How are you?
Man, what a round of rugby controversy. Just
Spit it out.
wonderful rugby.
Spit it out. That's it.
Can't say anything about the ref at the moment. I'm going to save that until later on. But wow and wow for this World Cup.
I just want to say that I am finally an owner of a Fiji rugby quarterfinal jersey.
Well done.
Well done, sir. Well, Kawataka. Special K.
It's taken me 16 years to get to this point.
Only.
You know that you were knocked out in the pool stages with your jersey there.
Well, that's the main reason. Special K, thank you for bringing it up. I'm wearing this jersey today. It's to show some, what do you say, some love to the Kangaroos that's left the Qantas Wallabies. They finally left.
There's a difference between the kangaroo and the wallaby, may I say, Obi? There's a difference.
The Qantas is the aeroplane owned by the Australians. If you live in Australia now, you should know this. But anyway, I understand. It's still Tonga in Australia.
What about Tonga and what about Samoa?
Go the boys, eh?
The
Go
biggest
the boys in the
win
last
ever
game.
in the history of our rugby nation.
But let's just talk about the Fiji's game this morning. How are you feeling? What were your thoughts? Like, just explain.
I had to clear my throat there because it's so hard for me to explain how I feel in that game. I turned the TV about 4 times watching the to and fro. Kawataka, what do you think?
Oh, mate, it was bittersweet for me. I was so happy for the Portuguese for finally winning a World Cup match at the expense of Fiji. But hey, we made it to the quarters, right? I mean, I ran in and out of my lounge. I couldn't turn the TV off. I was just too excited, too nervous. All the emotions went through me, and then I was just happy at the end to find out that we made it to the quarterfinals. I'm so happy for Portugal. Let's not take anything.
Portugal Huka Kawataka said, quote, "If I die tomorrow, I'm a happy man."
Yes.
Unquote.
Yes.
That's how much passion the Portugal. No wonder the Portugal chicken is very nice here in Australia and everywhere around the world. Obi, what do you think about the Portugal and Fiji game?
You know what? The passion, the crowd, the crying, the emotion shared after the game, which is something that we always see that comes out of the Fiji team, but this time was just different. It came from Portugal. And back to the question, what happened to Fiji?
For me, right, this is only my kind of thinking. That Fiji, in some ways, lost that Fijian fight because I think it just became a business for them. They had to win that game, and it just didn't. They didn't have that. What's that flair? They didn't have that oomph. They didn't have those kind of feelings. But I think for me, once this game was finished, they can reset and watch out Fiji. It's almost that they were very fatigued and didn't have much in the tank. However, that's what's going to happen now is going to be so much more exciting. I think Fiji's going to lift. What do you think, Kawataka? I could be wrong.
I think you're spot on there, mate. Look, they came in complacent. It looked like they were complacent anyway, and they looked all a bit tight, trying to do too much. Mistakes abound. Gosh, the handling errors. That was discouraging to watch, to be honest. But having said that, it looks like Fiji aren't wearing the favorites tag as well as other teams do. It's almost like Fiji like being the underdog for some reason, Yeah. And so I think coming to the England Fiji game in the quarterfinals, I think they will have that underdog tag. I mean, England look like they'll be the favorites to win it, but I think Fiji's got that underdog tag now, and they will show up. They will turn up. 16 years, mate. 16 years for this moment.
Compare the first 2 games. Fiji played against Australia, Wales, and the last 2 games against Portugal and what was the last 2 games against Portugal and what was the game last week? Anyway,
you're supposed to do your homework,
tier two nations, the last 2 tier 2 games. Compare them to the first 2 tier 1 games. Do you think fatigue set in? And do you think they were just burnt as well? Like, do you think they're all just tired? I think they're just ready I mean, do you think they should have made a few more changes in the group?
Look, let's be clear about this, right? They were confident that they were going to beat Portugal, and they put out a team that showed that they were resting players and saving them for next week. And Rawai has full trust in the team that they currently have. And but the worry for me is that as the tournament has progressed, it seems like fatigue is starting to set in for Fiji. And it's understandable why Rawai had to rest those players. Probably the biggest game of their lives is going to be next week when they play England. So you can somewhat understand the thinking behind the changes and the fatigue factor. I mean, let's not forget also the injuries. That we have in the team. You've got Samuel Randrandra pulling up with a hamstring. Now you've got Mayadelevu with a knee issue. You've got Tusova coming off early. I mean, these are Fiji's main players heading into the quarterfinals that they're going to need, running full bore. So let's just hope that that is paid off. Yes, we scraped through with a bonus point win, and it almost seemed like Fiji went in there to play for that 1 point bonus point.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell they kicked for goal straight away, and once they got up, especially towards the end there, after scoring those 2 tries back to back, then they started just kicking for goals instead of putting the pressure on. So they were just in it to get us into the quarterfinals. And full credit to Portugal that they took advantage of it. They took the Bulls by the horn and just rode that bull all the way to the end. Yeah.
Do you think complacency was one of the factors that was in Fiji's downfall today?
It has to be,
this one.
But it's a learning experience for the Fijians. If they can put this behind them, reset, recenter, and discover the form that they beat England prior to the World Cup, I'm telling you, Fiji will make it to the semi-finals, no doubt. If you watch Samoa against England, show us some of the stats later on, Obi.
Yeah.
And get the no more yellow card, no red card. Play to the referee, get him on side, manage that kind of game, and we'll talk about the some of the biases in those games. But I reckon Fiji will do so well.
Just before we go into the stats, what do you think Fiji should do to prepare themselves for England? What they should do better to prepare themselves for England, knowing that we've beaten England once. Now let's forget about that game. We should really not be thinking about that game, but I think we should refocus ourselves on the next one. What do you think Fiji should do?
I think that the world thinks it was a fluke, right? That's what they got to figure. That game against England was a little bit of a fluke for them. Make sure, I think in their minds, if they beat England, that was no fluke. That was just rugby played by Fijians to win.
Yeah.
Kawataka, don't hold back.
Yeah, well, 2 things, all right? The downside from losing to Portugal is let's hope that there's not some psychological damage done to those
emotional damage. No, yeah, right.
Yeah, let's just hope that's that they're not going to carry that. Let's just flush it down the dunny, like Henson says, flush it out, right? And to prepare for the England game, I think they need to refocus onto the basics, that got them there. Right, which is their set piece, their kicking game. I think we'll look later. Portugal actually did more kicking, than Fiji. The stats and their defense. You cannot have a defensive rate at 60%
I'll bring up the stats now.
Yeah, so if you bring that up, so if they cover those 3 areas, right, their set piece, their kicking, and their defensive structures, then I think Fiji hold them in good stead to compete with the English team. Now, for me, one of the worrying issues is that as Fiji progresses in this tournament, they're scoring less tries.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it would indicate that as you get on into the tournament, naturally fatigue will set in and whatnot. So you mentally have to get yourself up for it. But what's concerning me is the amount of passing that amount of handling errors,
Mm.
and especially passing. They couldn't get the ball out to their widths without having to do a skip long pass. And so that's what's concerning for me. And I think if they work on that heading into the England game, it gives them a lot more range in their attack. Because don't get me wrong, England know who exactly to target, right? You got Tuisova coming in. Let's just put 2 people on him, right? You stop Tuisova, guess what? You stop the rest of the team. So you stop that back line. So that's one. That's the 2 areas that I would. The basics and their passing game. Those two areas. They just need to improve on that. I don't know how exactly. Maybe it's the combination issue.
Tamataka, look at the run meters. 661 Fiji, 391 to Portugal.
Yes.
What's the kick meters at the bottom? Can you move your Obi? Can you move your mouse down there?
Kick meters.
Yeah.
So Fiji 1022.
Oh, that's my one.
And Portugal is 1019. So the difference of 4 meters.
Yeah. So on World Rugby on my stats,
meters.
it says meters from kick, 1,112, 996. But it shows, kicks from hand, 37 for Portugal, 30 for Fiji. Kicks regathered, 4 for Portugal, 3 for Fiji. Kicks in touch. Now, Portugal kicked the ball more in touch, right? Than Fiji did, 18-12.
Right.
I think the whole game, Fiji was trying to kick in touch, but they just
Exactly.
So what you're saying there, Kamataka, that the strategy of Portugal was to kick and let the Fijians run.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we have a running.
And you worked.
Yeah,
I believe from my end, I think I honestly 3 things maybe improved as well. One is the unnecessary mispasses. Sometimes you have 2 or 3 people, but it goes from Tuisova all the way to the wing. He misses 2 in the middle. There's an overlap. Sometimes you have another level, Mangala, and then you have the winger, Hambosi. A couple of times Tuisova throwing long passes all the way to the end.
Yeah.
But if they just hand the ball over, there would have been an overlap of, things can happen. Mangala was one of top of his game today, I would say, apart from the fact that he can't contest high balls when it gets kicked to him. But his running ball was really awesome.
Yeah.
And I think the second thing as well is ball carriers needs to secure the ball when they get tackled.
Yeah.
Now there was a lot of what's the
just think about how they scored their tries, right?
Mm.
They were from pick and goes over the try line. 2 of their tries, the tries that they did score. So it almost like their backline play was non-existent.
No, and it was measured.
Yeah,
it was very predictable. The Portuguese predicted what Fiji was going to do.
Yeah.
They're going to give it to Tuisova. Tuisova runs the line down, and then there was nothing else. As soon as they stopped Tuisova, I felt like that's where Fiji stopped.
And Obi, from the turnovers, Fiji is devastating. I don't think there's any other team in the world that attacks from a turnover as good as or used to be as good as Fiji. So I think you're right. They tightened the game. They tightened the game, played with the forwards, and didn't give too much time and space for the backs.
Yeah, you see, unfortunately for Fiji, their forward pack didn't get them the gain lines that they usually get.
Used to. Yeah.
And so what happened is that they turn over to the backs, and the backs would usually get it for them, through Tuisova, through Nayada through Randrandra, But because the Portuguese decided, we know who to target, and they did target Tuisova, in the last 10 minutes, there were 2
and those around him.
20 minutes. So, great work from the Portuguese, but from Fiji's standpoint, we need to rediscover that passing game.
Yeah, this is a passing game. Fiji, I believe Roluni is still trying to experiment a few combinations in the squad.
Are you saying experimenting, or are you saying that he is already pre-planned that to happen? Because I don't think experimenting is the right word in this case.
I think they thought Portugal was going to be
easier,
to play against, but they didn't know that Portugal was there to create history, and they did.
Look, can I just add one little caveat in here? Look, I feel for Botitu. It was his first start as a number 10, and he basically decides the tone or the depth at which they play it. And for Tuisova, for the players around him, the halfback and Tuisova, and then you got my other level, they have to play off him. And unfortunately, they probably weren't used to his style of play. And he also seemed to drop a couple of balls and missed a couple of kicks. But when that starts to happen to your first five, and another forward pass by him, those things start to affect the players around him, especially when it comes from your playmaker.
Right.
And so what does the team do? The team tightens up and decides to do the work on their own. And because of that, penalties, and they got driven back.
Can I ask you a question, Obi? Can they turn around and find the form that they need to beat England?
Well, I believe they can. I believe they can. Just the one thing we spoke about the last episode was mixing structured games with a flair. I think we saw a bit of it this morning. A bit of flair came in, a lot of flair came in, but they were running by themselves. As soon as they took the ball, they ran the gap. They ran the line straight through, but there was no support. You know what I mean? Yeah. Would you rather run and 20 meters ahead, get tackled, gain 20 meters, or you run 5 meters, but you still get the ball back?
Interesting. Kawataka?
I think they can definitely turn it around when it comes against the English team. Obviously, they'll get their halfback Korvuli. Then you've got Teti Tala back on, and then hopefully you've got your centers, the center pairing of Tuisova and Nayadalevu fit to play. And I think it's just a mind shift. Right. I think this is just a blip on the radar. Yes, they haven't been scoring as many tries, but which is worrying. However, I think what England offers in regards to that type of defense and expensive game that the English offer, I don't think they have as much to offer as Fiji does. England are going to be intent on playing that pressurized type of rugby, which is fair enough. But if Fiji want to, I think, beat them at their, not only at their game of pressurized rugby, but also especially start to pull away to get some breathing room, they're going to have to let that ball go, man. They're going to have to play some backline, play some deception in their play. Because from what I saw against Portugal, it was just one up straight. Or maybe Rawai Louis is not showing his hand just yet.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah. So let's just hope it's the later.
Just before we move on, if you have to pick your backline for Australia, who would it be?
Did you just say Australia?
Against England, quarterfinals.
Oh, mate.
Who would be your backline for Fiji?
The only thing they have to pick was
the only thing they have to.
Would you play Botitu or would you play Teddy Teller at 10?
Kawataka, this is your specialty, man.
Oh, no.
I can't wait to talk about Tonga after this.
Okay.
Right? I've done my research. Go ahead, Kawataka.
Look, I'm gonna go with Teti Tala on this, right?
Teddy Teller? 12?
Yeah. 12? At 12, I'll go with Tuisova, Nayadalevu, and hopefully Randrandra's on.
Winger and fullback. Drossese?
And Drossese at fullback. And the other winger is
Hambosi is all right there.
Yeah, Hambosi is all right there, but I wouldn't mind giving Waningolo a go.
Yeah, Waningolo, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's good. But
again, their bench is also going to be really important coming on towards that last 20 minutes. So they're going to need a lot of emphasis from the bench. It's a 23-man game now, and I just hope that because they're going to be tired, they're going to be fatigued, judging by how they've played thus far.
And the bench,
really needs to show up.
And lift.
Oh, how about this one here? How about these two games here?
Oh,
how do you think Samoa? Can we just give a bit of credit? Not a bit of credit. A big congratulations to Samoa for the last game against England.
I've loved Samoa since the 1991-95 World Cup.
Were you born then?
I was actually still in heaven, and when I watched the game, it reminded me of that era where they were just on top of the world. And I'm not even going to say unlucky. I'm not going to use that term unlucky. I can use many other words, but they'll just take out. That would just take Samoa where they were in that game. Who should have won? I'll let you guys all be the judge. But I tell you what, Samoa should have won that game. and they have earned the respect of everybody around the world. I just thank you to Manu Samoa for just what they have done and how they played that game.
Big congratulations to Samoa, man. To Samoa, I'm really proud of Samoa. But one thing got me in that game. You guys understand what is the Bernard Foley clause?
All
Let's
right,
just say it's not a real thing. Let's just
I
say
know
a
your
Bernard Foley
education
clause.
was certificate for, but you're more or less
Huh?
talking like you have a degree.
Yeah.
What is it?
A Bernard Foley clause. Samoa scored a try. They kicked the goal. They missed. You know, the rule of the game is after everything has to be decided before the kick happens. After the kick happens, it's finished. You can't call anything back. But they changed the rule last year. Why? Because of Bernard Foley. When he kicked the ball, when he was told not to kick against New Zealand in the Bledisloe Cup.
Obi,
And
I know that you're using Australian, but
No,
Bernard Foley didn't make it
but
on the aeroplane.
No,
He's
but
gone back on the aeroplane in the moment.
No, it happened last year. It happened last year. This is what happened. This is why Samoa got pulled back on the try because of the claw.
Yeah, look,
But
I feel for Samoa. They
Uh,
hands down should have won that game, and for the ref to call that try back, and as if it was, nothing.
It just opens up a lot of what's the word?
Can of worms. That's
Can
what.
of worms to the rest of how rugby is going to be played now.
Look. The problem, and I'll say it right now. Unfortunately, for this World Cup, I know they're trying to introduce these new tackle laws.
TMO.
They don't do themselves any service, World Rugby, especially the referees, when they're being inconsistent like this. And this is everybody's asking for some consistency, but we're seeing intercepts being yellow carded, and some other intercepts not being yellow carded. We're seeing some people, getting a seatbelt tackle, getting yellow carded, or getting penalized, but then other people not getting penalized for that. So I think the list goes on, but it's just they need to get that consistency back into the refereeing style. But Samoa played an awesome game. They've given the blueprint as to how to beat England, and they spread England, and that's what I love about that Samoa game. They spread them. They made it hard for England, right, to attack them, to defend Samoa. When they were just, they started running. They went from left to right. That's how they scored their tries. But unfortunately for Samoa, another, one yellow card, and they're a man down, and now they're playing tight again. You see, and that's what happened.
That's where
With
Kamataka, what I felt the DNA of Lima Sopuanga.
Yeah.
What's that team that he played for back in the days in the
Highlanders.
rugby? There was a Highlander DNA in that game. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Sopuanga.
I wish they only played him in the last 2 games as well.
Well, absolutely. That's what he was missing. And we talked about it in our first episode. And Kamataka here brought that up. But well done to Samoa. We're proud of you.
Yep.
Let's talk about Tonga, the red jersey. 45-24, the highest.
I'm taking my hat off. Look, I'm taking my hat off. This is serious stuff now, right? If you notice the first podcast, I was always wearing the jersey. I'm a believer.
That's the only jersey that
Let's
fits.
go off to Ikaretahi. You won my heart. You won many others. What a game it was. You know what? You won the World Cup in my eyes. Obi, they've won the World Cup in my eyes.
That's a big eyes. Those aren't 2 big eyes, eh?
What do you mean by big eyes? What was that?
No, like in your eyes.
Thoroughly deserved winners of that game. And I think they just showed the best of what they had. They left nothing behind in the tank. They all deserved that win. So well done to Tonga. I might have to fly back and talk to the king and give them some money.
Did you cook a pig on a spit and stuff yesterday after they won the game?
So proud of them, Kamataka.
Oh yeah, beautiful finishing from Tonga there. They showed what they can do, and I just hope that moving forward that Tonga can continue to produce those type of performances because they we know we can. We know that they can, and more games for them will be great. Will help with that. So yeah, big ups to Tonga, man. Big ups to Tonga.
I think they saw our podcast and just felt our energy in that game. There's a saying in the rugby circles in Tonga, Kamataka and Obi. I love you full speed, no brakes. That's my feelings for them, and that's how it's going to be. Well done, Tonga.
Thank
Die
you.
for
But
Tonga. Die for Tonga.
die
Yeah.
for Tonga. You gotta have cars to brakes. Horses, you don't need brakes for horses. You just pull it
Brother.
around.
But you know where the horses end up at, eh?
Hey, just a quick one. Yeah, I want just 2 sentence answer from you two. Special K and Kautaha. Do you think there's unconscious bias when it comes to tier 2 teams?
Ooh.
Look, I can't even spell that word.
You don't need to spell
Right?
it. Just tell us what you understand. You have 2 sentences. You're on 3 now. Do you think there's unconscious biasness when it comes to tier 2 teams?
Look, I think that cheapens the resolve and the experience that I'm having with the World Cup. I'm not going to say one thing or another, but what I have to say is that from watching the Tongan game against Romania, they just need to. That's outside maybe of their influence, outside of their control. They got to work on themselves, and I don't like to kind of blame some other things for those results. So to be clear with you, I don't know, I don't care. I'm not even going to talk about it.
Good. Let's come from a person that loves rugby.
Yes.
I love you, Obi. Full speed, no brakes.
Kautaha, why I asked this because there was something the coach for South Africa did say, Erasmus, something about unconscious bias. And why I asked this as well, because in the last interviews against Samoa in England,
Right.
I think Mafusu actually said something about unconscious bias as well.
Yes.
Do you think there is unconscious bias when it comes to tier 1, tier 2 nations?
Look, there might be a feeling of that, especially if you've lost a game. And that's understandable. You know, emotions are high. In post-match press conferences and post-match interviews. But I think we need referees, right? And I think we just need our referees to be able to stop making the game about them and just let the game flow, because these types of controversies, they, like Special K said, it does bring the game into somewhat of a disrepute, and maybe it needs to be aired out. I mean, from Samoa's perspective, it definitely needed to be. It's something that they felt they were hard done by, right? And I think we all want a bit of transparency, I think is the word, really, and honesty about what's, from both sides, from refereeing, from the players' side, right, to get the game moving forward, And if we talk about unconscious bias in the game, I mean, there's got to be a whole lot of other things before we even get to that. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, tier 2 teams, playing more tier 1 nations, if we start looking at that, I think, I think that, this unconscious bias stuff will go away.
Yeah. So, last question before we go into the review of the last couple of games.
Right.
Do you think the video ref TMO has got too much influence in the game?
Well, what do you reckon, Special K?
I think that's a leading question, hey? You're probably baiting me so that people can come and throw eggs on my house or my car. Right? Okay. Look, I don't mind the video ref. This is only a personal. However, we like the game to flow better. They've got to work out a balance between that, because one part will say, okay, that's not a try. And then the referee will go back and say, into the bunker and say, that is a try. I think we just got to, as Kamataka talked about, we've got to be consistent and let the game flow, and make it not about those referees, but about the game.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Kotara?
And I think that, I think watching league, if I hate to bring up the other code in this.
Can you mute this?
Oh, no, Special K is going to leave this podcast now. But we've got to learn something from league. I mean, I don't know if you watched the grand final against the Panthers and Broncos, but I mean, that game was like all over the place and the ref just let it go. I mean, they have their own bunker system going, and, the bunker system gets involved, if they need to.
Only when the ref asks for this.
Yeah, only when the ref is asking, but it just makes it more an exciting and a more action-packed filled spectacle to watch. Whereas rugby unions right now, as it stands, there's some teething problems. They've introduced this new TMO system, especially for for tackles and all that. I know there are 2 different codes, but I think there could be lessons to learn from rugby league. And the reason why it popped into my head is because I see there Obi that you've got a Rabbitohs jersey,
That's it, buddy.
and
That's it.
I think you should change your name to Superman instead of Obi because you've got a Superman sign there.
I don't want people stopping me at the shops, man.
Oh,
That's why
right,
I
right,
thought, yeah,
right.
keep it undercover for a little bit. Anyway,
Can we get back
What do you
now?
got?
Can we get back now to the World Cup, please?
yeah,
Yes,
we are.
Hey?
How about this one here? So the upcoming
right.
games for this week. This is an exciting part of the big weekend coming up. So we have Wales play against
What
Argentina,
a crack of a game.
Ireland and New Zealand, and then we have England and Fiji, and France and South Africa. Wales against Argentina. Who you pick?
I think Argentina hasn't played their best, hasn't really struggled against England. Yes, maybe. But when they played against Japan, it's almost that they're saving their best for this game. I just think Argentina will just do so well and make it through. Wales have played their World Cups in the last couple of games that they played. So Argentina for me.
Thank you.
All right, Special K, can I ask you a question then?
Go ahead.
Out of all the pools, right? A, B, C, D, right? Which pool do you think was the weakest pool?
Man, you know what? I'm going to probably dodge this question because I think all the pools were difficult pools. I don't think there was an easy pool.
Right.
There is
Right?
there is an easy pool.
That's just for me. I just think that the pools, man,
Man,
I'm
why the
going to
pool?
dodge that question, Kawatak. I just think that every pool had some special elements to it.
Right.
Some pools not so special, but I can't cheapen the victories that Fiji has done to
Yeah.
get to where they're at now.
Yeah.
And say that was an easy pool.
Right.
Right? I can't say that Ireland was in the easy pool because they had some. I just think that where they are now is they all deserve to be there.
Okay. That's a very diplomatic answer.
I'm a
Well, that's a
politician in heart.
No, that's a chicken answer. Chicken answer.
That's a
He likes
that's,
to.
a, that's a
he
king.
likes-
That's a king answer, man. That's a royal answer.
Kapta, who are you picking on this game here? Wales and Argentina.
Oh mate, Argentina look good, but I'm gonna go for Wales. They've got too much experience in that team. Wales.
Yeah, for Wales, eh? I think
So
if
you've,
Argentina.
so you've beaten Wales and you smashed. Oh no, you haven't beaten Wales. That's right. Sorry, I'm going to the last World Cup.
Yeah, I'm going for Argentina with this one.
Yeah.
No, big game. Ireland and New Zealand.
What a cracker!
Oh, all right. I'm gonna go for Ireland. I'm just gonna
Ireland?
look. I want the All Blacks to win, but this Irish team just looks too strong. I mean, that demolition with precision against Scotland. That game was over by halftime, man.
So, they have a few injuries in the backline. Did you hear about the
Yeah.
latest?
I heard they've got a few injuries. I think they're wingers and a couple of second rows.
And they're specialized too. Specialized.
Yeah. But
And then they're getting new people in that
yeah. Although having said that, the All Blacks do have Frizzell coming back, and they got what's that? Geordie Barrett playing now, so back in. I would like to see Antoine Leonard-Brown somewhere in the mix, just because I think that defensively, Rieko Ioane might not be up to scratch compared to Antoine Leonard-Brown, because that midfield is going to be sorely tested with the way that Sexton is running that Irish backline. And there's going to be players running from every angle, and you're gonna have to make decisions as a center. And I just wonder, having said that, Rieko Ioane does have the speed to make up for Antoine Leonard lacks, or to make up if he does misread something. He's been known to pull off some amazing defensive tackles, try line wise. But I just wonder, against Ireland, you're going to need all the experience you can get to be able to undo them in the back line, at least, let alone the forward back.
So you're going Ireland on this one, eh?
Yeah, I'm going Ireland.
That's okay.
Look, guys, I predicted Ireland to make it to the finals.
So Ireland is your team,
right? But may I say this? In this game here, I think New Zealand will win.
Oosh.
Why? I don't know if you guys heard, but have you heard this word called mana?
Yes.
I watched the warm up for this game here, and I looked at every single eye, counting, and looked at them, and I have this feeling that they're not going to lose this game, right?
Okay, so you're going New Zealand.
I'm going for New Zealand.
Oosh.
Okay, so scrap all the prediction you made from the beginning of the podcast as Ireland's going to win the World Cup.
But Ireland will win the World Cup.
Okay. So I'm going on Ireland on this one as well. Fiji and England.
Also Fiji, Toso.
Also Fiji, Toso, Saki.
Hey,
Sorry, Kamataka.
Hey, nah, I'm gonna go.
Kawataka, if you're wondering why they never played so good against Portugal, can I put this into your formulation of your in your head and your heart? Fiji was waiting for this game. They're going to give their best. They're going to do whatever they need to do. Everything's going to fit. They're going to win.
Look, I'm gonna go off. You're only as good as your last game, right? And
Nobody's ever said that once. Nobody.
I said it too from the beginning. See what I just said? Saki said it as well. You're only as good as your last.
look, I'm gonna go for Fiji on this because of how Samoa systematically unraveled England.
The last
showed
World
how.
Cup. The last World Cup. Samoa
Specifically-
played against
specifically-
Ireland, and Ireland was so. They didn't just back. They didn't bounce back from that.
Yeah.
They were hurt emotionally. They were hurt physically.
Yeah.
And I think you're right.
So, Kamataka, so you're going with Fiji or England?
I'm going for Fiji. Underdogs. Underdog.
All right,
tag.
going
He's
Fiji as
right
well.
on underdog tag.
And the last one, France and South Africa.
Oh.
I've got to take
Well,
my,
I'll
I've got
start
to
it
take
off.
my heart medicine.
All right, let's go. Let's go, Obi.
I'm going France.
Why?
Why?
We have a full France team right now. The first is back, the winger is back, and then we have number 9 who's confirmed today.
They've never won a World Cup in their lives.
That exactly the point.
Hey, Ireland haven't won a World Cup in their lives.
Yeah.
So even got
how
past the
good,
quarterfinals.
how good would it be if a team that has never won a World Cup won this World, just happened to win this World Cup?
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
And that team is gonna be France if they beat South Africa.
Right.
That's okay.
I'm tipping South Africa.
You owe me lunch.
Yeah,
No,
I'm gonna go for France. Look,
Well, thank you everybody for another show.
I can see how you guys like French fries and everything like that, but that doesn't mean that French going to win.
yeah. Nah, I think South Africa's gonna be strong, but I'm just hoping that the French
Kicking game.
well, no, the French spectators, the home advantage gets,
But I just love the singing. I love the singing. I just love the cheering, the dancing when France play the game.
Sosa losa,
No,
sosa losa.
That's Argentina. That's Argentina. It's different. Well, anyways, boys, thank you very much for another beautiful show.
Yeah.
Thank you for the beautiful show Samoa and Tonga has shown us in the last in the World Cup so far, and wish you all the best on your trip back home to your families. Well done. You've done really well for your country, and also for the mighty Wallabies and Eddie and the boys. I would like to wish them all the best as well on their flight back home. I know
Come with us
they've
on a
been.
journey, mate. Come with us on a journey, mate.
The next
I
World Cup,
understand-
boys. The
I
next
Journey
understand-
World
home,
Cup.
mate.
I'm going to
understand
put a
that.
prediction now. The next World
I
Cup, the
understand.
Wallabies will win.
I understand that they had to wait one more week just to catch their flight back home. We just confirmed this morning, but all the best, Eddie Jones and the boys. As always, 4 more years, guys. As the famous
Famous who? Famous who? Obi?
Josh Gregan said that.
2 World Cups.
4 more years, mate. 4
2
more
World
years.
Cups.
Yep, 4 more years. 4 more years. But to all our listeners out there, thank you very much for watching our videos and subscribe and like our videos if you like them. And we'll talk more on the last 2 weeks of the World Cup to come in next week. Till then, it's Amode.
Love you guys.
Toso viti toso.